to the video. In places. So first, think about what you travel, whether it is in the country or outside of it. We're going to share in class. I want you to please pause this video and read the situation and think about what else you would recommend to do. If you notice Lucy is going to around next month, right? Please think about what you would recommend her to do because we're going to share in class. Perfect. Now, I want you to please find out how these questions or instructions were reported in the previous conversation. For example, what are the best hotels in Rome? In this case, they reported us. She asked me what the best hotels in Rome were. Double check the time you have to be at the airport. They reported us. I told her to double check the time she has to be at the airport. Finally, remember to take pictures, but don't worry if they are not perfect. Was reported us. I reminded her to take pictures, but not to worry if they were not perfect. Okay, this. Today we're looking at how to report instructions and how to report questions. So first, reporting questions. When we report questions, we use the word order of a sentence, and they do not have question marks. Look at the examples. What are the best hotels in Rome? She asked me what the best hotels in Rome were. If you notice, we're using the reporting verb ask. This verb needs an indirect object, in this case, me, and then I use the word order of a sentence. The best hotels in Rome were. Okay. Are you going to the Colosseum? He asked me whether if I was going to the Colosseum. Once again, I use the reporting verb ask, indirect object, me. I have to use if or whether. The two options are okay. And then, of course, I use the order of a sentence. I was going to the Colosseum. Now, please notice that sometimes when we need to change the verb to the past. But this is only going to if it is relevant. For example, if somebody asks you if you have kids, you will. That's okay. Let's continue. Now we can report instructions, suggestions. These are some of the words you can use: advise, ask, instruct, order, remind, request, suggest, and tell. And with these verbs, since we're reporting instructions, requests, suggestions, we're going to use the infinitive form of the verbs. Look at the examples. Double check the time you have to be at the airport. I told her to double check the time she has to be at the airport. We have a reporting verb, told, the indirect object, her, and the infinitive, to double check. Remember to take pictures, but don't worry if they are not perfect. I reminded her to take pictures, but not to worry if they were not perfect. In this case, we're using the reporting verb reminded. We need an indirect object, her, and the infinitive, to take. Now, what happens if you have a negative instruction, like don't worry? Well, you will use this, not to worry. Okay, let's continue. Now, are these sentences correct? Let's do number 1. A. Don't leave without your sweater. She told me not to leave without my sweater. She told me to not leave without my sweater. What option is correct? That's right, the first one. The second is not correct because remember we should use not and then the infinitive, not to leave. Now pause the video and work on the others. Then let's check. Okay, let's see. Where did you go last Saturday? He asked me where I went last Saturday. No, right? He asked me where I had gone last Saturday. Remember that from the past, we go to past perfect. How many years have you been married? She wanted to know how many years I have been married. correct. I wanted to know if I had been married. In this case, this is not correct. This would only be correct if this person is no longer married. Next, are you going to the party on Friday? He asked me whether I was going to the party on Friday. Correct. He asked me if I was going to the party on Friday. Also correct. Remember, when you have a yes/no question, you can use whether or if. Okay, let's move on. Now, let's go to student book page 109. Exercise B. Here, we're going to report the things that Sally said. Sometimes there is more than one correct option. Let's see. Are you taking your running shoes? Sally asked Lucy. This is a yes/no question, so what are the two words we can use? That's right, if or whether. Sally asked Lucy whether or if she is or was taking her running shoes. In this case, is or was are correct. Why? Well, if the trip has not happened yet, you can say if she is taking her running shoes. If they already went on the trip, then you would use was. Now pause the video and work on the rest. Let's see. Put the shoes in a plastic bag. She told her to put the shoes in a plastic bag. Why do you always take a pillow? She wanted to know why she always takes or took a pillow. Once again, it depends on if the trip has not happened or if they already went to the trip. Does it have to be that pillow? She asked Lucy. If or whether it has or had to be that pillow. Once again, if the trip has not happened yet, you can use has. If the trip already happened, had. Don't pack too much stuff. Sally advised her not to pack too much stuff. 6. How many bags are you taking? Sally wanted to know how many bags she is or was taking. One more time, it depends on if the trip already happened or not. Okay, great. Now, let's go to workbook page 76, exercise A. Let's read the instructions. Paulo has just arrived in New York and is telling a coworker about his flight. Please complete the sentences with reported speech, but notice that sometimes there is more than one correct answer. Let's see. Do you always travel with just one bag? People often ask me. If or whether, I always travel or traveled with just one bag. Remember, because it's a yes/no question, we're using if or whether. And just like in the previous exercise, if the trip already happened, traveled. But if this is a habit, like in this case, we can use travel. Pause the video and work on the rest, please. Okay, we're going to check this during our lesson. I will see you then. Bye-bye!